Welcome to my collaborative activity for week 2. My name is Jackie Vincent. Tonight, I'd like to discuss the problem of violence in film and its negative effect on young people. As a school teacher, I am troubled by the casual way kids respond to violence. In fact, what is even more troubling is their association of violence and humor, two things that make very strange bedfellows. My opinion is one thing, but when it is backed up with research, it becomes a scientific inquiry into a dangerous subject. According to our textbook, locating the immediate cause of interest or concern about a topic is done by monitoring media and paying attention to what people are talking about, both within a field and across a field. This is very true when it comes to the subject of media violence and its implications on our youth. The rampart desensitization of our youth is a troubling matter. It is such a big concern that recently a study was done to see just how many articles or research papers were written about this topic, and it came to a number close to 600, according to a 2008 article by Murray. You can only imagine that now, in 2016, it has skyrocketed even higher as we become more and more less shocked by things that 30 years ago were taboo. A study done in the early 1960s by Bandura, Ross and Ross found that children who viewed live violent acts or televised violent acts tended to imitate these actions and engage in more violent actions themselves. That study was done in the 60s, when entertainment, by today's standards, was pure and wholesome. During that era, there was Gidget and Leave It to Beaver. Now we have Bart Simpson terrorizing his family, and South Park characters killing their siblings. The level of violence and humor integration has taken on a new meaning in our current violent-driven society. For a moment, think of the first episode of The Three Stooges that you may have watched, and reruns as a child. What struck us to be funny in those serials? Obviously, Moe beating Curly over the head with a number of objects was amusing to us. We couldn't help but laugh. Now take that level of subtle violence and constantly reinforce that image in a child's mind. You get a hyper-desensitization of a child who thinks nothing of bopping their baby brother or parent on the head with any object he or she can find. While the Stooges episodes were a bit tame, given today's standards, we could see the evolution of violence and humor if we carefully study the advent of children's media, from fiction works to current television programs. Recall, if you will, a favorite fairy tale. While they have a moral to them, there is usually a large villain or evil character who does bad things in order to illustrate a larger point. Now, while this all seems harmless, the evil images conjured up in an impressionable mind causes fear, anxiety, and bad dreams. However, if we combine violence with humor, we create a sense of fusion between the two elements that do not belong together. Violence creates violence. Humor and violence combined creates an unnatural bond between two opposing viewpoints and leads to the destruction of morals and values in our youth. How do you feel about this topic? Can you think of television shows that combine humor and violence that you would watch with your children? Thank you for watching my film clip. Please see the attachment for the bibliography.